What's up YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. Today's video I'm going to talk to you about this crazy theory that's been floating around there that Rey is actually a reincarnated version of Darth Vader. Now, like most of you, when I heard this theory, I thought that's crazy, that's impossible, there's no way.
No. It's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
It just didn't seem viable or something that Star Wars would do. It didn't seem like something they would do in Star Wars. But the more I thought about it, the more I considered that it might actually be possible, and some of the things that are being said about the film made me believe that it could actually be the case. Now, first of all, I'm going to make 3 different points here. 2 of them, the first 2, are going to be outside of the universe. They're not an in-universe explanation as for why this makes sense. They're more from a business perspective. So basically, when it comes to the film, Rian Johnson is helming this movie both in the director's chair and as the writer. He's also the writer on episode 9, okay? And the thing that everybody from Disney that's been working on the film, or anybody who's seen the script, they all keep saying the same thing about episode 8, that it is weird, okay? That word weird keeps being thrown around. And if you've seen Rian Johnson's other movies, Brick and Looper, you know that he does make pretty weird films. That's just kind of his thing. So it should come as no surprise that he's making a weird movie. But wouldn't it make sense if he is doing something where Rey is a reincarnation of Vader, or more in the lines with a reincarnation of the Chosen One, or a Force birth? That would basically make sense and be a viable reason as to why people would call it weird. I've also heard from Rian Johnson that he is going to do something in this film that has never before been done in Star Wars. I remember him saying that last year in some kind of report, and if he chooses to have Vader reincarnated, that would obviously be something that's never been done in Star Wars before. There's never been reincarnation or this type of like Hinduism, Buddhist kind of thing where this person is reincarnated. Now, here's my second point. Now, this has a lot to do with Disney. Now, if you're Disney, imagine you just bought Star Wars, okay? Star Wars is this complete story. It is a complete, from episode 1 to episode 6, a complete story. And the story is basically about Vader. I mean, Luke and Leia are only significant to the story because they are the children of Vader. It's all about Vader. It's all about the Chosen One and his path and how he falls away from it and then is eventually redeemed by killing the Emperor and saving his son, refusing to kill his son. And he's redeemed by Luke. And it's a whole total and complete story. So how can you possibly create a new series of films and probably Star Wars sagas films for the rest of time, and yet have them still have the gravitas, the pull, and the completeness that the original Star Wars had? Well, that's what brings me to this theory that maybe Rey is not just a reincarnation of Vader, but a reincarnation of the One. Basically, the Chosen One is a figure that's is introduced to the universe of the galaxy every time the Force goes out of balance. I've heard this theory kind of perpetuated a lot, that people think that, yeah, she's a Force birth, and that could explain not only why she's so powerful, but also how they, as Disney, could create a new series of films that can hold a candle to the old films. They have the same kind of without retracting away from them. Because here's an interesting thought, right? If Snoke is Palpatine, or if Snoke is someone like Plagueis, or someone who's always been around, it kind of belittles Anakin's arc and Anakin's sacrifice if this other person was just there the whole time. The whole idea that Palpatine was so powerful and that the Sith were so powerful and so much of a threat that Luke redeeming his father and his father choosing to destroy them is such a big deal because they are the all-encompassing bad and evil, right? But obviously, storytelling is cyclical. Star Wars is cyclical. Disney really is playing off of that. The Force Awakens is a perfect example of that. It's so cyclical. It is basically a reboot, rehashing of A New Hope, where all the same kind of things are happening again. And if they want to do that, and they want to have a villain that's really bad, if they want to have an arc, a character arc, that's just as intriguing and impactful to the world, there's really no better way to do that than to have Vader just be one of many, okay? And now Rey is that new person. She's the new Force birth. She's the new creature that's introduced by the Force to the galaxy to help balance, okay? And this brings me to my third point as to why I think it could possibly be the case that Rey is a reincarnation of Vader. And this is an in-universe explanation. This all has to do with her being left on Jakku. Now, there's like a lot of problems that I have, and I'll do like a ton of videos on the issues I have with her being left on Jakku, who left her on Jakku, if it was Luke, like how could he possibly do that? But here's the bottom line. So I really do believe, especially after reading Bloodlines, the newest novel by Claudia Gray, that Luke did leave her on Jakku, and I can go into that later, but here's the bottom line. So it marries the idea, like Luke as a character, I cannot see him just leaving a child on a planet, especially if it's his daughter, just leaving her on a planet. So let's say that Luke, when he's creating the Jedi Temple, his new order, he's going around and he's looking for Force-sensitive kids, right? Or adults or whatever. He's looking for Force sensitives to rebuild the Jedi Order. Pass on what you have learned, is what Yoda said. So then let's say he finds this girl who is a Force birth, who is a reincarnated version of Anakin. Because you got to understand, Luke is also communing with Yoda, Ben, and Anakin's Force Ghosts. At the end of Return of the Jedi, we see all of them there. We have to imagine that Luke is communing with them as he goes and moves forward to set up this new order of Jedi. So he finds this girl who's a Force birth, and they instantly are like, oh no, not this again. Like, it's just like Anakin, who became Vader. It's the same thing as repeating itself. The Force is doing this. We have to investigate what this means. So if she is a Force birth and she's a reincarnated version of Vader, who's a reincarnated version of someone else, then it would make sense for Luke to remove her from the equation, put her on this secluded place while they iron out what exactly to do about this problem. It's also hinted in Bloodline that Luke has been looking for older Jedi temples way before he leaves to go to Atman 2 or whatever it's called, the first Jedi Temple. So he was already delving deep into Jedi lore, which could be because he is trying to understand this cycle, this reincarnation cycle. So, so that's basically my three explanations as to why I think Rey could be Darth Vader. And just like all of you, when I first heard this, I was like, no, like Vader from, that movie that was some people liked. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. Now it's time to check your nerd card. So here's the question. What was the name of the Tony Stark-like character from the old animated show Gargoyles, who brought the Gargoyles to modern-day Manhattan and ended up being a big villain? What was his name? Answer it in the comment section below. This is the first video for this channel. If you like this kind of content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more videos with similar type content like this. And I'll see you guys in the comment section below. See ya!